Okay, so today we're going to discuss the chemical examination of your urine using your reagent strip method. So although we have other method here for the chemical examination of your urine for all the analytes suspended in the urine sample, so basically we'll be dealing with the reagent strip, all the principles, all the tests and all the principles, and even other confirmatory or supporting chemical reagent tests that is being added also as part of your chemical examination along with your reagent strips will also be discussed. So basically when speak about the reagent strips, so parang strip lang siya, it's a test pad where you could have your, eventually this is being impregnated with the chemical reagent for each of the test pads that's being attached to the plastic strip. Okay, so we have here your reagent strips. So we have here the different brand. We have here the brand name in the form of your multi-sticks. Could also have here your chem strip. Okay, and depending on your reagent strip, so some reagent strip would have here 4 parameters. On the other hand, some would have here the 10 parameter test pads. So each of the parameter or test pads to you represent each of the tests that you could eventually determine with your urine sample. So in the case, for example, if your test pads would have your 4 parameters lang, so basically try to measure, okay, the test for your protein, the test for your glucose, the test for your specific gravity, and we have also the test for the pH. That's the basic 4. In addition to that, there are some other brand here wherein they were able to test for 10 parameters. So aside from the 4 I've mentioned earlier, so in addition to that, you have also test for your blood, okay, test for your bilirubin, your bilinogen, your ketones, your leukocyte esterase. Then we have also your test for the nitrite. Okay, so this would measure here determine the presence of the different chemical constituents or the analytes present in our urine samples being dissolved in our urine sample that help us then to correlate the result here with your physical examination and even your microscopic examination. Okay, so the reporting of the result here for your agent strip is most like this one is a semi-quantitative. So semi-quantitative is not a quantitative. Okay, basically, you try to report or release the result here in terms of, we have here the manner of reporting. You can have here negative, then trace, 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus, or 4 plus. However, there are some test area where may nakalagay naman ng mga specific na quantity in mg per dl and others would try to present that one in SI per unit. But then again, there are only selective na mga test pad area where you have that way of reporting. So most likely, this one is the way of reporting. We tend to report the result here by comparing that one with the color change with the manufacturer chart, color chart here for your interpretation. So all you need to do here is just moisten here the test pad with a urine sample. Upon contact with your test pad, so test pad contains here chemical reagents, enzymes, and many other substrates and many other chemicals that would eventually try to react with our urine sample and try to produce here a color change in your test pads. So just whatever the result you just need to compare with your manufacturer chart, okay, for your comparison. Okay, then we have here, okay, the process of your handling, storage, and we've also here some other technique, okay, that we need to consider when we are doing your chemical examination for your urine using your test strip or your reagent strip. Okay, so the first one, when you are testing for the urine sample, make sure that when you transfer your urine sample in a test tube for testing, make sure that one is, you need to well mix that one. Okay, why you need to mix that one? Because eventually, if your urine sample has already sit for long period of time, some of the cells has already suspended on the bottom of your specimen container. And if you're not able to get that one, and being part of your sample here, it would underestimate the concentration of those analytes. Like for example, your RBC, your WBC, and other cells here, like for example, your bacteria. So most likely they tend to settle the bottom. And eventually, if you're not able to mix that one, so magiging negative ang test results natin if you just get the upper portion of your specimen. That's why, before you transfer the specimen to your test room, for your testing, as your example here, you need to mix the specimen to allow all the analytes that's being dissolved in your urine to mix up with your urine sample to provide you with the actual concentration of those analytes. Okay, then after that one, you just need to dip your strip here completely but shortly. What do you mean by completely here? So that's why we are requiring the patient to collect here as much as possible here approximately 12 ml of the urine sample that would allow you then to have here or to fill up the entire test strip of your urine sample. That would allow you the entire strip here to be dipped here with your urine sample. Make sure that all your test pads here would able to come in contact with the urine. So, dapat na moisten siya ng urine natin. That's why it should be completely dipped here with your urine sample, that all the test pads were able to come in contact with the urine sample. And shortly, what do you mean by shortly here? Briefly, so after you moisten all the test pads here, just need to get that one immediately. Huwag mo nang patagalin pa. Then after that one, you try to remove here your urine sample, your test strip here with your urine sample, and try to remove here the excess na urine on your strip. Okay, on the other hand, you could also blot the side of your test strip here with your tissue. Okay, so para ma-remove ang excess na urine, so katulad nito, kung itong test strip natin, so kung itong container ng kung itong container ng test ng ano natin ng test strip natin. So all you need to do is just pag tinanggal mo ito, iano mo lang siya. I-touch mo lang ang pinaka-tip ng ating test strip here with your mouth of the container of your reagent strip to allow here the removal of the excess na urine. On the other hand, the negative side, pag sinabing negative side, itong side ng test strip natin na walang reagent test pads. Yun ang ibablat mo sa tissue paper. Okay, so do not blot here the area kung nasaan ang ating mga reagent test pads. Because if you try to blot that one, magkakaroon ng discoloration dito sa ating, so remember this one is a color reaction dito. So kung ito ang area, okay, kung ito ang side na may mga test pads, dito ka magbablat o dito mo i-wipe ng tissue natin. Okay pa, and then after that one, if you have already removed here the excess na urine sample here with your urine strip, so you wait here for the specified reading time. Okay, the manufacturer actually provides you with the reading time. You just need to observe the proper reading time. So approximately, the fastest reading time is the test for the pH. And we have here the longest reading time is your leukocyte esterase. That's 120 seconds. Most likely, we just need to parang ina-estimate na lang natin ang reading time. Because of course, you could not, di ba may recommended na mga reading time for each of the test pads. Hindi natin kaya na susundin yun lahat-lahat. Basta, you should not read beyond here that 120 seconds. Okay, because of course here, if you try to read your result here for longer period of time, upon exposure to the air, nagkakaroon ng discoloration ang ating test pad, nagda-darken ang ating result here with your color change. And that's, eventually, that would not provide you with the correct interpretation of your results dapat. Okay, then how are you going to compare your test strip here? So kung ito ang, for example, kung ito ang ating color chart, okay, so dapat do not read that one na pag ganito ang strip natin. Okay, why? Pag ganito kasi, it might have the tendency that your urine may going to have here the run over. Pag sabing run over, so pagkaroon run over ito, ang test pads urine mo dito sa first strip mo, pupunta sa the next one, the next one, next one. So it will contaminate the test pads. So you call this one as your run over. And to prevent that one, you read instead na ganyan ang pag-read mo, i-flat mo siya, ganon. So, pag ganun ang compare mong result natin, pag ganun siya, not pag ganun ang pag-read. Okay, para hindi mag-run over ang ating specimen here from the previous na test pad to the next test pads, because again, may color na kasi ang test pad natin. So, pag nag-run over siya, pupunta siya sa next, it will affect the color reaction of the next test pad and the next test pads. Then, that would result here to your incorrect interpretation of your results. Okay, another one here. So the specimens should eventually be returned to your room temperature prior to your testing process, especially if your specimen has been refrigerated. Okay, you need to return that one to the room temperature here of your urine sample, because remember that your agent test pads are chemical reactions. Okay, so most likely enzymatic reactions try to works best at room temperature. So pag cold ang temperature ng urine sample natin, it might eventually affects your testing results interpretation. Another one, your strip here should eventually place here in cool, dry place. Do not expose your reagent strip here directly from the sunlight to prevent deterioration of your test pads. However, here, although your reagent test strip here in the specimen container or the specimen bottle here, may nakalagay naman siyang desiccant. The desiccant, we're going to absorb the moisture because any moisture here or water that would able to enter your entire container would try to result to the discoloration of your test pads. Kapag ginamit natin ang ating reagent strip, dapat wala siyang discoloration ng test pads. Because again, pag may discoloration, like napatakan siya ng water or any other liquid, it eventually nagkakaroon na siya ng color change. And we don't want it na may color change na siya pag gumapa siya gamitin. Okay, another one, do not use here your reagent strip na past expiration time. Of course, that would have here, pag expired na siya, so it would have here different result interpretation. Okay, then we have also here the quality control. Okay, for the quality control here, so every time you are using your strip here before testing your specimen sample here, you need to test for the quality control for the positive and the negative control. Okay, so you need to have here your positive control and the negative control. The positive control is actually a reagent, chemical reagent that's being purchased from the manufacturer. Okay, and pag positive control, para siyang, okay, eventually para siyang urine sample natin, only that one is a positive. What do you mean by positive here? Kung ang strip natin, nilagay mo dun sa positive control, you are expecting that the result of that ay lahat dapat positive ang maging reaction. Negative control on the other hand, so there's also a chemical reagent na negative control. So, pag nilagay mo ang reagent strip natin with the negative control solution, so ano man expect na result natin? Dapat negative siya. Okay, this would check here the validity and accuracy of your test strip. So, dapat pag positive control, dapat ang test strip mo ay magkakaroon ng positive reaction lahat. Pag negative control naman, tintip mo dun sa negative control, so dapat negative reaction. Okay, pag hindi ganon ang maging result niya, so mean to say there's something wrong with your reagent strip, you need to purchase another na reagent strip with a different lot number, different na manufacturing date. Okay, when are you going to perform here the positive and the negative control test? Anyway, for the negative control, do not use distilled water as your negative control. Although distilled water naman, we are expecting na wala naman siyang chemical constituents, diba? So it will give you a negative reaction na distilled water. Only that, your distilled water is not a recommended na negative control because again, your reagent strips has been manufactured basically to react with a unique substance na similar sa urine sample natin ng kanyang composition. not your distilled water kasi wala namang ions ang ating distilled water. Pero kasi, considering the result, negative control or distilled water would have here the negative result naman talaga. But then, of course, distilled water is not the recommended na negative control solution. When are you going to test here for your positive, negative, or quality control program here? So, at least dapat daw once every 24 hours. So, at least once every 24 hours or once a day. So, isang positive, isang negative, i-test mo muna ang strip mo bago ka mag-proceed ng testing sa ating sample. Okay, so pag okay ang result ng control mo, so that's the only time you proceed with your testing process because you're already confident that whatever the result of your specimen, okay, that is an accurate result. Or kung afford nyo naman, so you can perform here once in every shift. Okay, every shift here, so every shift hours, every shift duty hours, so 8 hours, so you can perform that one. Pero once a day, pwede na siya. Okay na siya pag once a day. Okay, another quality control here with your urine testing here for the chemical examination would be the confirmatory test here for whatever the positive result here with your reagent strip. So confirmatory testing could be done here with the use of your adjunct test, with the use of your chemical reagents. So itong liquid na chemical natin, or you could also have here your tablet test. Pag tablet test is just a tablet, but that one is impregnated with the chemical reagents that will also give here the positive result pa din. So we have here the confirmatory test here for your protein. We have your sulfosalicylic acid test. Then we have your galactose, is your clean test. Ketones here, we have your acid test, and we have your bilirubin. We have here your icto test. Clean test, acid test, icto test are all tablet tests. Mga tablet sila na may mga chemical reagent ang tablet natin. Ilalagay mo lang sa urine, then it will give also here some chemical reactions. So we start our discussion with your chemical examination here with your test pads for pH. Okay, we'll speak about the pH that pertains here to the alkalinity or the acidity of your urine sample. Okay, so we have here the first morning urine. We'll have here a slightly acidic na urine pH with a pH of 5 to 6. Alkaline pH would be most likely during the alkaline tide. Okay, that's okay, to the 4 p.m. and after a meal, you have here an alkaline pH. Okay, the random urine could have here 4.5 to 8 na pH. If you receive a specimen wherein the pH here is more than 8, that one signify here an old na specimen. So this is unsatisfactory na specimen. I mean to say the specimen here we speak about all the year, the specimen has been, or the specimen has not delivered to the laboratory within 2 hours of the collection process. Again, our cut-off dapat is for the specimen should be delivered here to the laboratory within 2 hours of collection process. So more than that, so magiging ano na siya, magkakaroon ng bacterial multiplication, and that's, we consider this one already as unsatisfactory specimen. This warrant here the patients to eventually be required here to recollect again a specimen to have another fresh na specimen sample. Okay, now we go to the clinical significance of your pH. Okay, so testing here for the urine pH will also try to help us then to diagnose for problem related to your acid-base balance. Talking about your acid-base balance, we have here two organ or body that try to be involved in our acid-base balance. We have here your kidney serving here as our metabolic function. We try to regulate the level of your bicarbonate. Your kidney try to reabsorb your bicarbonate. Pag reabsorb niya bicarbonate, this is an alkaline, di ba? If you try to reabsorb the bicarbonate, then what you have here is alkalosis. At the same time, could also excrete the bicarbonate. Your lungs is the other one, is the other organ here. We try to also be helping here in the maintenance of your acid-base balance. Your lungs try to regulate here your acid-base balance by regulating here your carbonic acid. This is the acid component. And your lungs serve here as the respiratory function. So, ano ginagawa ni lungs with your carbonic acid? So, pwede niyang i-exhale. Exhale here is try to excrete an acid. Okay, and then you could also inhale. Better term for that is hypoventilation and hyperventilation. Pag hyperventilation, we try to excrete, nilalabas niya ang acid natin in the form of your carbonic acid. Pag hypoventilation naman, try to conserve the acid. Hindi niya nilalabas. Okay, for the diagnosis, so we have here for your metabolic, so we have here the pH and your bicarbonate level. So pag acidosis, mababa ang pH. Anong level ng bicarbonate natin? Since this one is a base, since acidosis, metabolic acidosis, mababa ang pH, at mababang ating bicarbonate, because this one is an alkaline. Metabolic alkalosis, so alkaline siya, ang pH natin mataas, bicarbonate natin mataas, which is also alkaline ng ating bicarbonate. Respiratory acidosis, so again, we have the pH and carbonic acid. Respiratory acidosis, mababang pH. This one is acidosis. Okay, then acidosis siya, dapat madami kang acid. That's why mataas ang ating carbonic acid. Respiratory alkalosis naman, mataas ang pH, mababa ang ating carbonic acid. So notice here ang direction ng pH sa bicarbonate level natin here. So kung ano ang pH mo, ano direction niya, ganun ang direction ng bicarbonate natin. Pero dito sa ating respiratory function, see the pH here and the level of your carbonic acid are in opposite direction. Talking about this one, so if you talk about the acid-base balance, if there will be problem in this lungs, ulit ito ang nagko-compensate sa atin. Like in the case of your respiratory acidosis, ano magiging compensation natin to maintain your normal blood pH? Dapat, magiging 7.4 ang ating blood pH. Since you have problem here in the lungs in the form of acidosis, dapat alkalosis ang gagawin ni kidney natin. In the form of, ano gagawin niya para magkaroon ng alkalosis? I-reabsorb niya ang bicarbonate dapat. Pag ito naman sa respiratory alkalosis, okay, so meaning to say konti lang ang acid mo dito. Anong gagawin natin para maintain ang ating, ano magiging compensation ng respiratory alkalosis ni kidney natin? Since respiratory alkalosis ka, anong gagawin sa bicarbonate dapat? In-excrete niya dapat since madami ka ng base dito sa lungs. So, dapat dito gagawin ni kidney, lalabas na ang base para ma-reach natin ang normal pH, which is 7.4. Okay, then this would eventually allow us to check here for the problem related to your inability of your renal tubule here to excrete an acid. So we have your renal tubular acidosis. It's a condition wherein your body could not excrete an acid. Okay, so another one, determining here the pH of your urine help in the identification or help here in the treatment of your renal calculi formation or your kidney stones. Paano siya mag-help in the management of or the treatment of your renal calculi? By knowing here the pH. May mga kidney stones kasi tayo na they tend to precipitate in a certain pH. May mga mga uric acid crystal here, something like that. Na-precipitate sila sa acidic na pH. So para hindi sila ma-form because they tend to precipitate in an acidic pH, for example, uric acid, ganon. So ang gagawin mo ang lahat to modify the pH of your urine. Okay, gawin mong alkaline ang ihi mo para hindi ka mag-form ng renal calculi. The same true if the urine crystal, for example, try to precipitate in an alkaline pH. So, anong gagawin mo para hindi siya mag-form? You try to modify your urine pH here para gawin mo siyang acidic para hindi ka mag-form ng renal calculi. Another one we have here for the treatment of your urinary tract infections. The same through with this one. Okay, like your E. coli, Escherichia coli, try to be present in your acidic na pH. So, ganun din, they have a specific na pH where your bacteria tend to thrive. So, like if your bacteria causing your urinary tract infection, try to thrive here on acidic pH. Para mamatay sila, then gawin mong alkaline ang pH mo. So that's how you use this one for the treatment of your urinary tract infections. Another one, we have your determination of your unsatisfactory specimen. So again, anong ulit na pH ng urine natin na we consider that one as unsatisfactory na hindi siya fresh. So that's pag ang pH mo ay 9, so it would signify here that your specimen here has not been preserved. And therefore, again, is unsatisfactory, then try to allow the patient here or instruct the patients to obtain another urine sample for that fresh specimen. Another one, your diet and your medications also try to affect here the urine pH. Okay, in the case of your acidic urine, so high meat diet, high protein diet, and medications like your methenamine mandylate would produce here an acidic na urine. Alkaline urine here most likely for those vegetarian diet and for those eating here high fruits except your cranberry juice that would produce here an acidic na pH. Okay, then we have here the test principle here of your reagent strip for your pH. So the reagent strip here for the pH make use of the double indicator principle of your test strip. You need to know here and memorize all the principle of each of your test pads. Again, the principle here of your test pad for your test for pH is your double indicator. So from the word itself, it makes use of two indicators. We have your middle red and your bromothymol blue. Middle red here would change the color from red to yellow if the pH of your urine is between 4 to 6. But then again, if the pH of your urine sample here is 6 to 9, that will be detected by your bromothymol blue that will change the color from yellow to green to blue. Okay, so that's the principle of your test for pH, your double indicator because of your middle red and your bromothymol blue.